Welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun. Episode 25 9. If you don't understand that title and why I entitled this podcast that way, look up episode 8, not 25 8, but just 8, 008. And that will tell you why I chose that title, because it is fun being a published author. But I entitled today's podcast, Protect Your Work. This is a very important topic. It's not something I've addressed a lot on, but aspects of it I have. I have built into my course that I teach in Basic Authors Training, or BAT. That course goes into it to some degree, because it's important that you protect your work. Uh, Not just protect your work, you got to get ready for the IRS. And I talk about the uncle and his nephews. Your uncle is Uncle Sam, and the nephews are all those states out there who have income tax or sales tax, and they all want their fair share of whatever you make as an author. And that's a legitimate concern that they have, and you need to be ready for them. But when I say protect, not to protect you from that, not to protect you from the government. There are unscrupulous people out there who will try to take advantage of you, try to um, take money that belongs to you, that they'll have it redirected to themselves. And so I'm covering only three aspects today. There's more to it than this. But first of all, copyright. You should always copyright your work. Now, there's basically two ways to do that. One is you go to the government, there's a small fee you pay, and you get you can copyright your material. They'll actually have you send a copy of your manuscript in, and then that will be on file. And that is probably the absolute best way of copywriting. However, it's not the only way. That's time consuming. That is something that will actually give you a stronger legal case. But there's another way of doing it, and that's simply by having a copyright page in your book. Right? Usually it's the first page right after the title page. In my case, I usually do it on page 3 because I like the title page to have a blank back. So it's the title page, a blank back, and then the copyright page, which gives them the buyer information about who's publishing the book, um, any restrictions about copying and transmitting and so forth. And then there's a copyright ISBN. When you get your book, you always want to have an ISBN. Now you can buy them, or if you're using a platform such as KDP, they will actually provide you a free one. Now if you use that free one, there's certain limitations to it, which I have not found to be a problem, at least not yet. But anyhow, those are two different ways. And in this one that's here, this is instant. Technically speaking, your work is copyrighted from the moment you start writing the book, even though you haven't published it yet. It might be a little hard to prove. But if you haven't get your book to the point where you get an ISBN number, and you can copyright simply by writing out the word copyright, the and symbol, or at, whichever way you want to read it, and there's the copyright symbol actually, and then there's your name. You copyright it under your name. That's all you got to do. So that is something that you want to do and have right in that book. And so when people are checking your book out, they know that this is copyrighted material. So that means there's certain things they can't do as far as copying and stuff like that. And you can have that is a legal basis, will stand the test of a court if you have to go to court. It's not as good as the one going through the government, but it is good, and it's recommended that you have that copyright. It's very simple, doesn't take any much time at all. It's pretty much cut and paste. Once you have it, you cut it, or actually copy and paste. Would be a better way. Copy it where on from a previous book, and then put it in. Just update the information, make sure that it all relates to the current book. But that would protect you to some degree. And in most cases, that's all you really need. But that's a very important step that you want to take. If you're going to with a traditional publisher, they'll do that automatically for you. I think if you go with a vanity or self-publishing, I think they do that for you as well. So real and indie publishing, like I mentioned, KDP, and there's Lulu, and others out there, they will provide you that. You just say whether you want the free one, or did you buy one, and you simply upload it. Whatever way you want to go. Some people can actually you can buy ISBN numbers by not just single, but you can actually buy them by group. So that would enable you to do more than just a single one. You could say, well, say you bought 10 of them, and say you wrote a book and you wanted to do a series. You could have, say, each book would have rate in order those ISBNs you bought. And that was another way of actually not only protecting, but also identifying your work. So it's just something that you need to look at. And I do provide that in the course. But you can also just, like I said, write the word. As long as you have the word copyright with the copyright symbol and usually your name, that's just what you need. But you're going to want to do more because you want to have restrictions on there. Otherwise, people will steal from you, steal ideas, steal information. And if you put a restriction on there, that can help govern that. Another thing we want to look at here is AI, artificial intelligence. I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again. There's a lady out there, a successful, famous author. One day she woke up and went on her computer, I'm assuming, and she discovered there were some books out there in her name. Books she never wrote. She looked at the books, and her name was right there. She was able to go to a library or somebody and find it, or maybe she used the look inside feature, and she saw it was material that actually looked like her style. And it was written in her style. As she investigated, she found out there wasn't just one book, there were several books out there purporting to be from her. And somebody else was getting money, selling those books and getting the money for them. And so she went and tried to stop it, and eventually she did, but it took her some time. And how much money she lost because of that, I don't know. But it would have probably been a substantial, because she's a well-known author. So the thing is, it was discovered that they used artificial intelligence to do this. Artificial intelligence is a tool that you can use to improve your writing, your publishing, and your marketing. I don't recommend using AI for your writing. Some people do. It can actually copy your style. Now, if you do use AI, then I recommend you go in and edit it afterwards and make sure that everything is in there. First of all, if there's using any kind of facts or anything in the book, that they're correct. AI will lie, and it doesn't look at it as a lie because it's not a moral person. It's just software. And so you got to go in and make sure that everything is, right. You also need to go in there and make sure that it's written in your style. Make sure that it is what saying the way you would actually say, because they can still make mistakes. It's still growing. It's actually in its infancy, and it's growing and growing and rapidly. And then on top of that, you have to go to your publisher, and they'll have some kind of deal. And they'll ask you, did you use AI to write your book? And then if you say yes, then you fall into a new category for them, and you have to follow certain rules and regulations that they will impose. So I would not recommend using AI to write your book. I will, in my course, I will go into those details with you so that you can know you can use it. I won't forbid you to use it. It's your choice. But if you do, you just got to know there's going to be some limitations that when you go to publish it, you will have to answer the how the fact that you are using AI, and then you're going to have to make sure that that book fits whatever legal ramifications, rules, and so forth that they impose. So I would suggest you not use it for writing, but it is an excellent tool that you can use for getting your book ready to be published. And more, and even more than that, you can do it for for purpose of marketing your book. And that is something that more and more authors are doing, well, actually, publishers are doing. And so, in marketing the book, making use of AI, there's some useful tools out there. And I'm digging into them, learning more about them, and that will be in my course. And that is something that I will teach, and you will probably get some of it right here in this uh, podcast. So, the AI is an important tool. Don't just toss it, because it does have some very important aspects to it that you can use. Just remember, it's a tool. Don't let it rule you. You rule it. And then I switch topic here a little bit. Business banking. Why am I talking about business banking when I'm talking about protecting? Because business banking, the government looks at you as a business entity, and you want to protect your assets. You want to be able to protect you from outside people. There's restrictions that go into uh, having a business bank account. It's not like using your personal savings account or personal checking account. And the government, there are certain things that they want, and so they want to have a um, clear path to your bank account to either refund you money or to take your tax money out or whatever. And so it's just good, um, responsible stewardship of your money. And you should have a business bank account. And you can have other accounts under that. You can have it for your HR, human resources. You can have a separate checking account for maybe you support missions or something, so you have a bank account for that. Different things that you can have that would all be under that main one, and it would feed into it, and then you would have a structure that protects you and protects your assets. And so that is something that's why I put it here. It includes those three things. So there is much more to protecting yourself, but you need those are at least three things that you need to do. Uh, Copyright. Make sure that every book you write is copyrighted with an ISBN number. Let me put that up there so that you know what I'm talking about. Call this ISBN. And that, I put that on there because that is something that you need to be able to get. And like I said earlier, the outfit you're going for, the platform that you're using, like whether it be Lulu or KDP or I was going to say Borders. That wasn't who I meant. But there are different outfits out, different publishing platforms out there. And they will I'll publish your book. Another one out there is called Draft to Digital. So they will offer, and many of these will offer you their own version of an ISBN. It's well worth looking at and see what they are offering because it's free. And if you can get it for free and it covers your needs, then why not? But make sure that it covers your needs. There's different aspects to it. But if you are going to buy a lot of or want to use a lot of ISBNs, like you have a book series or something like that, another option is to go and buy them in the bulk. And in long term, that might have some strategic value to you as far as your books are concerned. So copyright, make sure you have a copyright page, and it should be the very first thing after the title page. Uh, like I said, you can have a blank page, make it so it's odd, so it's face up, so that people, when they open the book, they'll see it right there. So you want to do that. Make sure that if you're using AI, remember that you have to acknowledge that you're using it, and the publishing platform that you're using may have restrictions as to that or rules that you may have to follow. And then business banking to protect your assets. And there's other things you want to do for protecting. What I'm not going to go into because that would really make a long video if we went into every aspect of it. But this is touching some very important aspects, I think, that you need to do. Copyright, AI, and business banking. So that's it for today's episode. I hope this has been valuable to you. By the way, I want you to, when you're right over here down below, there is an opportunity for you to uh, subscribe to this channel. This channel is TNR Independent Books, and you get Becoming a Published Author is Fun. I have another podcast out there called Christian News and Views, and I take the news. It can be actual news item, could be an editorial, whatever, and I report on it. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes it's several, and then I give you my viewpoint, my opinion. Different than what the newspapers and broadcast news do today. They incorporate their opinion right into the news, and you can't tell the difference. I want you to know this is my opinion, and here is the facts, and here's my opinion. But anyhow, you can get at both of those podcasts by simply subscribing right down here, just subscribing to my channel, and it comes to you. It'll come right to your channel. You can also follow me, and that will go to your email account right in the inbox. And there's advantages to that. You not only got both podcasts, but you are encouraging me. That may not mean much to you, but to me it means a lot, because when I see people out there and they're liking my book or they're subscribing to my channel or something of that nature, that's an encouragement to me to continue. And I'm going to continue to give you the kind of service that you have already, if you've been watching me for any length of time, that you've come to expect. I want to give you quality service. I want to give you honest service. I want to give you, in this particular podcast, I want to give you coaching tips, ideas that you can use now. And so that is what I'm doing. I'm enjoying this, and I hope you're enjoying it. Please subscribe, and then I will see you in the next episode.